Factorising. If, for example, I have the number 6, then I can say that its factors are 1, 2, 3 and 6. And the reason for this is that I can actually pair them up. I can pair the 1 and the 6 up, and the 2 and the 3, and I can make factor sums. So I have 1 times 6, well that equals 6, and 2 times 3. So factorising involves finding things that multiply together to give us a common outcome. We can also do that with algebra. So if I have x squared, then I know that this has come from x multiplied by x. If I have y cubed, then I know this has come from y multiplied by y multiplied by y. So if I actually put some of those things together, for example if I have 6x squared, then I know that the ways I might have made that are 1 multiplied by 6 multiplied by x multiplied by x, or perhaps I had 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by x multiplied by x. It's important that we understand these things very simply so that when it gets more complicated we can still use the same ideas. So let's try to build this up a little bit. What about if I had 6x squared plus 8y squared, and I actually wanted to try and factorise this expression? Well, first of all I'm going to be looking at the numbers. Okay, so here I've got the number 6 and here I've got the number 8, and I have to think about the factor sums. I know the factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3 and 6, and I know the factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4 and 8. And so what I have to do is I have to look for the biggest number that is in this group and that is also in this group, and we can see that it's the number 2. So the number 2 is what I'm going to write outside my brackets, and then I have to decide what goes inside the brackets. So if I'm working with 2, I need to think, well, 2, what do I multiply that with in order to get my answer 6? And we know that it's 2 times 3, so the 3 goes inside the bracket. And the same thing again over here, and I've got the 2, what would I multiply it by to get 8? Well, the answer to that would be 4, so the 4 is going to go inside the bracket. Now I have to look at the letters. Because here I've got x squared and here I've got y squared, then those are completely different. There aren't any factors for me to use to put in front of the brackets, so inside the brackets I will just have x squared here and y squared here. And so what we're left with is the factorised expression. Okay, let's change it a little bit. And instead of just 6x squared plus 8y squared, I'm going to say 6x squared y plus 8y squared x. Now from what we did before, we know that the 2 goes in front of the bracket, and that we're going to have a 3 here, and we know that we're going to have a 4 here. But what I need to do is have a look at the letters this time. From over here, I factorise this algebraic bit, that means the letters bit, then I've got x multiplied by x multiplied by y. And if I do the same thing over here, then I've got y multiplied by y multiplied by x. Now any letters that appear in this group and appear in this group, I can actually go and write down here in front of the brackets too, because those are the factors. So although I've got 2 x's here, there's only 1 here. So in front of the bracket I can only write one of those x's. And looking, I've got one y here, but two y's here. But 1 is the biggest number that appears in both groups, so I can only put one of those y's here. Now to decide what goes inside the brackets, here from this group I've used up an x, which is here, and I've used up the y, which is here. So the only thing I've got left is an x. So this x here is this one from the list I didn't use. Now, over on this side, the x I have used, and one of the y's I have used as well. So the only thing that's left to go inside the bracket is the y that was left over, this one. And now we have our fully factorised expression.